Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Secondhand Dan coming to you from the Penny Pincher Thrift Shop land. I'm in my workshop. I know I did a task on my last video. Who would think that something as simple as going through a vacuum cleaner would take 2 videos? But I want to do something that's relatively quick. So we're going to do a simple task. It's something I'm going to be drilling out on my drill press. And if you listened to my last video, you may have heard that it sounded a bit muffled in some of the areas. Well, that's because of the lapel mic here. I think I had this end up against my clothing. So, gotta watch I don't let that happen again. It doesn't look like it would have been dragging it. It looked like the battery insert would be dragging against it, the cable insert, but it was muffled anyway, so it's on. Let's hope I don't get that muffling sound again. I thought I'd let you look down on me. That's something, a different perspective. Anyway, I'm going to stop saying because I'm always saying, and I need to go get my screwdriver and I would like to stop saying so I'm going to try and be conscious of that. I'm going over to turn on the set of lights here. We only have one set of lights turned on. Now we turn on the second string. So things are starting to look brighter. It's November 4th, the day before Election Day here. Get out and vote. I'm definitely going to be voting. My poll is like half a mile up the road. It's actually at a church I used to attend for a couple of years. It wasn't there before. The last time I voted, it was in this dilapidated middle school. The kind that you wander around and you're like, is there asbestos, falling out of the ceiling, leaks, and this old floor tile is getting kicked up. I don't know what they're going to do with that building. It looks like it was built in about 1958 or something, or 62. It's an oldie. Well, the project I have in hand, literally in hand, is this tool. This tool is a clamp, obviously, and I'm believing it's for clamping things down on your drill press. But it has 2 notches for bolts to hold it down. And there's also, I guess, and I'm just noticing that, a slot to put 1 bolt up here in the head. And that would cause it to tilt that way. But I thought I would make it convenient also and drill a hole right through here so I could put 1 bolt clean through and onto the drill press table. So let me show you my drill press table. Well, here is the drill press. I bought this for myself as a Christmas present probably like 25 years ago. Love having a full floor model drill press. That is probably one of the tools you'll get the most use out of in any shop. So if you don't have one and you're wondering what major tool I should invest in, I would recommend a drill press. Let me bring it down. Not emotionally or psychologically, but let's lower the boom, so to speak. Now this would be great for holding things down. Sometimes you can get away with using the extension clamps, but they don't reach that deep across the table surface. So if your item is past the edge of the table, they work well. But if you got something smaller and it's odd shaped, I do have 2 of these. These are vices. They're great. Wouldn't want to be without them. I seldom have to have a bolt these down for any reason. Usually the part's so small that the amount of torque, I don't have to worry about this thing shifting. But if you have something bigger and it's in the middle of the table and you're worried about the drill bit grabbing it and twisting it with the amount of torque. You want to be able to clamp it down, especially an odd shape won't fit in here. If you have something that's like a triangle, lots of luck, especially if it's more than 4 or 5 inches. So I'm going to drill a hole through this, and then I'll be able to run one bolt into the tabletop. So I guess the question is, what size should I drill it? I'm thinking 3/8. We're going to drill it 3/8, and if I ever need to upgrade the size, well, we could go to 1/2 inch at that point if I ever think 3/8 isn't cutting the mustard. But it's easy to enlarge a hole. But right now, I'm just going to lay this out and drill a hole through it. But I have to make sure that it's in this area here and not too close to this bracing. So somewhere between the edge and this bracing and the center, I'm going to put my 3/8 hole. So let's go lay that out. Now, this looks like it's going to be a handy device to have around, but it doesn't look like it's high end. You know, I suspect it's like maybe from Harbor Freight. The casting is a little crooked here. It's not a parallel line. And you can see grinding marks on it across there. You see grinding marks up through here. You know, a professional one would have been decked real nice. But, you know, I'm not doing things in the tolerances that it would matter. So let's lay this out. I'm going to put it in a vise over here. And the microwave's calling to me. It's going beep, beep. I got a cup of coffee in there. Or I should say 1/2 cup. 1/2 cup is better than no cup. It's actually my 2nd cup I'm working on. All right, well, I've got a ruler. Let's go get a square. So if I run this ruler underneath to where that brace is, and I see that it hits the brace about 1 inch, so I can't go a full inch, but I can go, how about 5/8? We'll go 5/8. So let's set this square at 5/8. And I've got a scratch all. That's no, not the lottery ticket. Where'd it go? It's usually, there's not, a scratch all is usually kept in the base of your square. I don't have one in the base of the square. It was out on the table. Well, here, let's use this little screwdriver for now. Okay, now I've got a line for the depth. Now I want to split it down the middle. This clamp base is at 2 inches. So obviously 1 inch is where we want to be. Now I'm already running into an issue here. I won't be able to drill it too easily from this side. I need to flip it over and lay it out, because we're going to want it to sit flat on the drill press table. So we said that was 5/8. Let's go with this one. Well, that's got me thinking, looking at it from the side, I can add another 1/8. So let's go to the 3/4. And that still keeps me a good distance away from the support here. because we know only half the bolt head is going to go past our center line anyway. So scratch. And we said 1 inch because it's 2 inches across, so 1 inch would be our center. And X marks the spot. So now it's time for a center punch. I have this 2 spring-loaded center punches. They're great for accuracy. So a lot of times I'll start out with them and kick it up to the typical handheld center punch. But here's my spring-loaded. So they're actually in 2 sizes. I need to turn the brightness up on the screen. I'm not seeing what I'm seeing that easily. So pause, you guys. All right, well, that's much better. I turned the brightness up on my screen, so now I won't be saying, where's my hand? Where's the object? It was pretty dim there. But as I was saying, there's 2 sizes here, and these are spring-loaded center punches. I'll start out with the small one. Get you in close. Tighten up the vise a little bit. Don't want to knock this clamp right through the vise, but and you can actually pump on them a couple times. So that has put a center punch mark in there. Here's a bigger one. Now, I think it maybe needs lubed up. It's not snapping like it should. There, that's a little better. Okay. And go ahead and finish it off with the standard center punch. Like I say, I gotta watch I just don't knock it through the vise here at this point. So all right, well, that's center punched. It is ready for the drill press. Let's go back to the drill press. It's ironic because I could almost use a clamp to hold the clamp right now so I could drill it, but I can probably get away with just hand holding this one. So let me get the proper size drill bit up, but we'll just put it in our vise here. Put the clamp in the vise. Make sure that you center it so when the drill bit comes through, it doesn't go into the bed of the vise that you're using. Good and tight. Good and tight. Get a 3/8 drill bit. Most of your drill bits, especially the decent ones, have the size written on them, but when they don't, you can just hold it up next to a tape measure, a ruler, or if you just got a drill index. Some of you guys have drill indexes and your drill bits stay in order. I don't have a drill index. I have 100, 200 drill bits maybe. This one's looking like it's 3/8. And I say score 3/8. Just measured it with my square here. Sometimes I'll measure things with a dial caliper, and then I'll go over to this reference chart here, and I'll see whatever I am in hundredths and thousandths, and then I'll come over and see what size it converts into fractions. So 375 is 3/8. Now, just for general knowledge, let me go ahead and get out one of my dial caliper here. In case some of you don't know what the dial caliper is. Dial caliper. Right now you can see it's set on 0. If I put my drill bit in there and close it until the needle stops, and then I can look, running up the scale there, 1, 2, 3, and 70. We said 3/8 is 375. So that's 375 thousandths is equal to 3/8 of an inch. So this is a drill bit I'm going to be using. Hope it's a sharp one. Usually I just throw out the dull ones because yard sales, I keep picking up boxes of drill bits sometimes for $2, $3. But I have what's called a drill doctor, but it's not here, it's in Florida. I picked that up at an auction. All right, we're going to raise the table here. I'll bring you over here. Drill bit has a crank on it to raise it up and down. So you get relatively close, maybe leave a 1/4 inch gap. Tighten the table so it doesn't wobble on you while you're drilling. There again, when you're drilling, you want to make sure that your drill bit lines up with the hole in the table. I've seen a lot of tables in other people's workshops, or whether they be for sale or at auctions, where there's all kinds of drill marks from drill bits going through. But I wouldn't necessarily have to worry about that in this project because it's in its own vise. So even if my table was off to one side or another, that wouldn't be critical right now. But generally speaking, if something is laying right on the table, you want to make sure that your drill bit passes through that center hole. Now, turn on the light. This is an LED bulb. Back when I bought this drill press, LED bulbs weren't a thing yet, so you had the old incandescent in there. All right. Do a little test with the lining it up, fire it up. Okay, here we go. Oh. We gotta put some lubricant on it. Now, a lot of times your drill bit may be sharp in the very tip, but dull on its as the edges go outwards. This one does not want to drill that well. I could keep forcing it. I'm making some progress, but I assume the drill bit is dull in this case, so when I get a little better organized, I'm going to throw my duller bits into a box because I'm keeping my eyes out for a drill doctor so I can sharpen them either as I go, or I can just go through a bunch of them and sharpen them. When you get a box full of dull ones, I think I found another 3/8. Check it with the dial caliper. Yep. I'm going to drop the speed down a notch. If you go to the top of the drill press and move these belts around, it's kind of like a 10-speed bicycle to some degree, except it has 3 sets of pulleys rather than just 2. So with 3 sets of pulleys, I have 12 speeds available. And right now it is at, with this being totally at the top and that one totally at the bottom, this drill is going as fast as it can. It's going at 3,100 RPMs. Like I say, if anybody knows of a better camera dealio that would work for me, like I would love to zoom in. You know, when you're looking through your other side, you can zoom in. But when I'm using the TV screen as a monitor, I can't change the zoom. But there's a chart up here that shows you the various speeds you're at. So I'm going to decrease the speed because I think we're running a little bit high. So like I said, 3,100 RPMs, let's drop it down to 1,900. So there's a lever here, and there's a wing nut on the other side of the drill press. So release the wing nut, can shift this lever, and that puts slack. Oh, there's two wing nuts, there's one on both sides, and that puts slack in the belt when I pull open this lever. So now I can move the belt and then push down on the back on the lever and keep a little tension on it while tightening your wing nuts. And I have just changed the speed now to, what did I say? 1,900. Yeah, 1,900. Let's see how that works. Sometimes it just goes your way, and a drill bit will go through something like butter. And I've had brand new drill bits sometimes, and it feels like you'll never get through the item. Okay, contact. There we go. You gotta see this. Look at them chips fly. Great. And I made it through just before that chuck started hitting the bracing. I'm just going to run over and dump this in the trash can. I do clean up my drill press periodically, but less mess is better. Over at the toolbox, and I've pulled this out. This is a deburring tool. There's some burrs on the back there. You stick this in and you can crank it around. Go one direction and then go back the other direction. You can see I have a bunch of filings sticking on there. That's from the lubricant I sprayed on there. Sure, I've got a dirty paper towel laying around somewhere. Sometimes I just reach into the trash can, and pull out one that I know is already pretty grimy. And spritz it with the air hose. All right, we are in business. Like I said, I was going to try and keep it simple this time. Simple project. Now I can bolt this clamp easily down to this table here. Will it be on that side or this side? So that's going to come in handy at times. And plus, I see already has a notch in there for a bolt. I'm curious what kind of bolt fits in there. Let's just check. Bolts, 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 bolts. Okay. The problem is that's in a blind hole, so it's funny that I chose 3/8 because here's a 3/8 bolt, fits just fine in there, and when I put it up here, it fits in there. But the only problem is, I guess, you know, that's blind, so you can't use a wrench on both sides. Now, I could probably maybe, well, that's for another day, whether or not I wanted to find a bolt with a bigger head on it and grind it so it just fits in there and doesn't turn right or left. But right now, though, this fits through here, and it'll bolt down, and I'll be able to clamp objects that I haven't been able to clamp before. All right, well, I'm going to clean up my workbench. It's one of my least favorite things to do, but I'm just grateful I have a nice workbench. Get a handful of tools. When I used to work at a shop with, you know, another fella, he would ride me because I wasn't too anxious to put the tools away. I'm a believer in putting tools away, but I just wasn't as neat about it as he was. So what we did was we just put a big cardboard box in the middle of the workbench, and at the end of the day, we'd chuck all the tools into the cardboard box until that box wore out, and we replace it with a fresh box. I have a special drawer where I keep my calipers. Let's go ahead and show you. See where I keep my calipers, micrometers, dial indicators. So it's not that I don't have some sense of organization. I'm just not quick to go there. What are these things called? It's on the tip of my tongue. I know they're for drawing circles. All right. I've got, most of my machinist type tools are in this box here. But there are no absolutes. But you can see I got a lot of combination squares, and straight edges, and rulers. Over here I keep some center punches, not center, or awls. There's my drill bits. And, hitting there. More drill bits, but these are wood boring bits and concrete bits. So I am organized. Chisels, punches, center punches, but it's just hard sometimes to keep that standard up or even to take it to the next notch. But I'm trying to create good workshop habits, especially since my grandson is going to be coming of an age eventually where I imagine he's going to be interested in tools. Already he likes to pull out the drill bits, and his favorite drawer right now is this one. He likes to open this one up and start taking out the sockets. And I have no problem with him going through the drawers of the toolbox. You know, I think it's very educational for him, reassuring. It helps us bond together. So I'm all for that. And a lot of people might say, hey, keep your hands off my toolbox. Honey, come and get the kid. I'd rather lose time on projects than lose time with my grandson. All right, back to cleaning up this workbench. Here's a project I'm working on. This is a fuel line for the box truck I have out back. It's been parked for like 5 years. And we started it up the other day, and fuel was just going like a fountain on top of the gas tank. And I'm like, what's up with that? So my box truck has a ramp in it, like the rentals, like the U-Haul. So we pulled the ramp all the way out. We were able to climb up underneath the box truck and look at the top of the truck. So whenever it was running, there was a fountain coming out, and found out that, I don't know if something chewed through a gas line, or because it's funny that it was no problem before, but all of a sudden there's a fountain coming out of it. Well, I was able to separate it. It was a plastic line, and this was the fitting that was on it. So I was able to cut that one piece off, bring it in the shop, and work it so I could put it in a piece of rubber line here. And now we'll cut this to a length and get what's called a barb. It'll be brassy, and it'll have like a couple of rings on both ends. So I'll push it inside this end, and then I'll push the other piece of the barb in the other end, and we'll use 2 hose clamps there. And you see I got a hose clamp on this end. So, and then we'll put this back on the gas tank. And then it will be running. I know it was running a little rough when we got it started, so I don't know. It could have been because of that fuel leak. Maybe it's getting a combination of air in there as well. I hope it smooths out. I know the gas is old. You can definitely smell it, that old gasoline smell. So it's time to start adding some fresh to it. But we got it, even with it running the other day, putting it in gear, it just wants to lurch forward, backward, forward, backward. And I watched the wheels. I thought maybe they was turning enough that they weren't, brakes weren't rusted up, but they might be. So we'll have to pull the wheels off. And if they're not rusted enough to keep, something's keeping it from wanting to actually roll, because something's stopping it. So I know the rotors are definitely rusted, even if they weren't, the pads rusted to the rotor. Just looking at the rotor as a whole, it looks pretty darn crappy. So I think the rotors are going to be needed, even if it was rolling. You'd still have to replace those rotors, because I know they're going to sound horrendous when you do apply the brake. So we have nice weather coming up today. I plan on getting that fuel line back out there and reattached to the box truck. And then maybe we'll have to jack up one corner at a time to see which wheel is actually frozen, because it's sitting back there in the grass. And if we're going to do any more work on it, we want to try and bring it around front to where there's some pavement. So that's the objective. Get the gas line on, get it running, and find out if it's, hopefully, if the brake's locked up, I hope it's just like a one wheel, one corner, not multiples. But it's not fun putting a floor jack back there in the dirt and trying to lift up a box truck. But got to do what you got to do. And then we'll get it around front. And I said my cousin Roy wants to buy it. So if he really wants to follow through, he's going to be the guy who's going to have to buy the rotors for it. Because I don't want to invest money in it. I don't have the thing advertised. If he is not able to follow through, I guess I could advertise it, but I'm almost tempted to keep it if it does up and run again. Like I say, I'm tempted to sock it full of items and take it down to Florida. I do have a antique and collectible business here, but it's been winding down. You know, the internet has been taking a larger chunk out of my sales, but and I can't find an auction company around here that'll allow me to bring boxes of merchandise and set it up on tables so they can pick it up, you know, one item at a time and say, all right, well, what am I bid on this coffee maker? with the frying pan, you know. No, they want me to take it. There's a place in Ohio where they want me to put this, you know, in a box. You pile a box together, and they want to put a number on that box full of merchandise and sell the whole box. You know, and I can even roll with that, except for the fact they're an hour and a half away, so they're not convenient. They do that sale once a month. I'd rather be a buyer there than a seller, but down in Florida, I work with an auctioneer, and we actually say, all right, you know, what am I bid on these two tools? And you know, what am I bid? Would I get 5? I get 5. I have 5. Now what do you do? 7.5. I have 7.5. What do you do? 7.5. No, sold for 5. And then the other case comes around. It might be, well, what am I bid for these pair of tools? Going to get 5? Would I get 5? No interest in 5. All right, well, let's put this with it and this with it. It'll start me at $5 now. So your stuff gets a little more respect down there at the Dudley's auction down there in Inverness, Florida. And I wouldn't mind taking a box truck full of antiques and collectibles, because I am trying to wean myself off the antique and collectible store. Not dealing with them, but the store isn't working so much anymore. I want to do more shop work. I want to increase the size of the shop. I want to increase the amount of artwork I put out. So we're going to go over my artwork in the next video. I have a couple lamps. We'll go over that and talk about my plans for the futures and doing industrial and steampunk, and maybe something else will come in that I'll say, oh, I can do that type of artwork as well. I don't think I'm going to get into pottery or anything like that, but I'm open. And maybe I'll just open the doors too to other artists. Maybe start a small collective, and maybe, you know, like 3, 4, 5 guys or something like that. Maybe they'll have access to this place. You know, maybe they'll have to pay dues to come in, and they can work on their art and have access to the various tools that I have, whether it be lathes and drill presses and chop saws and toolbox. And I'll learn some things from them, and they'll learn some things from me, and we'll just have a good time. That's my vision right now. It's the first time I've actually mentioned to anybody, so have to come up with a name for that collective there. But all right, well, let me get back to cleaning this workbench off. Clamps, I have clamps hanging up on the wall over there. I've been gathering clamps when I see them at yard sales. I don't know, I've got 2 more somewhere. I'm not even sure where they're at, that I bought maybe 2 weeks ago. $5, and I think they're like this long. These are fuel line, what do you call them? Decouplers. Yeah, it says right on there. True spring coupling. So I thought I was going to need these to get this off the fuel tank, but what I actually used was just one small one. Did I leave those in my, yeah, here they are. I'll show you the one that I actually used. This is what I used to remove this fuel line. Had to move this bracket out of the way. And then you would insert this and push real hard on it, and that enables you to pop it off the fuel pump. Put this over there with my other cleaners and liquids. Let's get this old vacuum cleaner off the table. I'll have to do another vacuum cleaner video. I have that up there on YouTube if you haven't seen it. So let's put these in the back room for now. Like I said, I don't like cleaning up, but I do like coming in and seeing a nice clean workbench. Like sometimes I don't even know where I'm going to put something. I don't have a sharp knife drawer. So I'll probably put it in the drawer with the scrapers and rasps. All right, well, I said I was going to keep this one short, so it's actually a little longer than I was planning, but it's not terribly long, so I'm going to just say thanks, goodbye, and everybody says it. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment. You know, I would like the comments because I just like to, I know people are watching, but, you know, I would just like to hear from people. All right, well, thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.